Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be playing the game Meet Your Maker, and I'm just going to go over some of the results of the maps. I'm going to look at the Outpost board here, and we're just going to go over some of the burial grounds and just look at some of the results in this video. I do want to apologize for mispronouncing Genmat for the longest time. Somebody explained to me the best way to have it come out of my lips. Sometimes the communication of my brain, because of the brain injury from my motorcycle accident, I think about it in my head, but it comes out of my mouth a different way, and I apologize that. So every time people cringe that I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. I don't mean to. So I'll try to be better at it. So let's go to the results here on my board. This is the replay board. I got my coffee this morning, just got up, checking out some results. I want to talk about a couple concerns that I had with my bases the last 24 hours, and I'll get to that when we get down the board. I do want to talk also about how I design my bases. I know people have watched my videos for a while now, and I don't do long corridors or maze style layouts. I do open concept layouts that allow me to utilize the guards. I'm a very guard oriented map designer. I like to have my guards overlap in their line of sights, overlap on their way to fire ranged weapons. I really rely on the cannoneers, the hornets, and the enforcers. I really like those, especially because they're not that expensive. Especially the enforcers are not that expensive, and they've got a nice range to them, and they got a good line of sight. So my concepts are open design. I don't like to. I mean, there are areas in my base where I'll narrow it down to when people come into the base, but then it kind of opens up eventually, and that's what you got to deal with my bases. So you see last night this base here. This is Happy Town. This is the one that I've did a couple videos on this already, and it's really devastating. It's a good map. It's been giving me some great results. It's a duo pair. They were in there about 40 minutes. This here is the falls. I've done a few videos on this map. This has been a great design, great kill ratio. I think the kill ratio in this map is 14 and almost 2k kills. The person was in there an hour. Imagine that, spending an hour in there, and 38 times they died. This person here, this is I think this is one of my newer maps that I call the Hornet's Nest. Yeah, that's what this is. This is the Hornet's Nest. It's a play on the birdcage build that I had before, but a little different. And the person they speed ran it because the other thing about my base designs, I make my bases very short, so they can be easily sped run. I try to slow people down, but I don't have my bases are not like 30 minutes of walking. My bases are, you enter here, the Genmat's here, and it's really short. But I have an open concept where I use guards and trap placements. So that person probably sped run that. I didn't watch the results of that. Sometimes you just can't do anything about the speed runners. This here is a new base that I created in about 10 minutes last night, and it's I hope it's going to do well. It was an old burial ground that was not performing well. So I stripped it, used the X button, stripped it, spent 10 minutes, rebuilt it into an open square concept, and that person went in there, died twice, and pulled the ripcord. All right, so then I've got this here. Now this is this map is the arena. I did a 60-minute video, an actual 60-minute video on when I built this base from beginning to end. And after doing the 60-minute video, I opened it up, killed a few raiders, and then I watched the video. Then I tweaked a couple traps in there. But overall, it's the same design, the same concept as if you watched that 60-minute video I did, and these are the results. Those two people were in there 40 minutes with a combined 62 total deaths. This person here did the hornet's nest, similar to, that's what this one is, the hornet's nest. And the hornet's nest got this guy 12 times, and he pulled the ripcord. He's like, I'm done with this. He was in there 5 minutes. And then you've got this map here, and this is the one. This is the one that I was just talking about here that I built in 10 minutes last night before I went to bed. Here it is right now, and this had duo pair 25, 22 deaths. I did view that just because I hadn't watched. That was like the first run. It was like, okay, I opened this thing up, I'm gonna view it, see how well it did, and it did well. Not bad for a 10-minute build. Okay, then we got the hornet's nest again, 15 ripcord. Now this is what was concerning me late last night, is how many people were pulling the ripcord, meaning they were just giving up on the process. They weren't trying to fight through it. And so as a builder, you got to ask yourself, is it too much? Because you might need to tone it down. Yes, you're going to get some phenomenal results with guys that are hardcore wanting to get the content done. They say, oh, I'm in the Tarkus zone, I'm going to do this. And they push through it. But then you've got somebody that's like, you got somebody that's been in there 10 minutes and only died once and pulled the ripcord. And this guy was only in there less than a minute. So he looked at the design. This is the arena design. And he just gave up. I imagine he probably didn't even move. He probably just entered the game and then left. Here's another arena duo pair. They gave up after a little bit and pulled the ripcord. The hornet's nest ripcord. Now this map here is a newer map. I haven't given it a unique name yet. I haven't got the feel of what I want to call it yet, but this is a newer map. It's getting some good results, but I'm finding that people are pulling the ripcord or giving up on the base before they even get into the base, because I've got this long corridor that you got to run around to get into the back side of the base. And that long corridor, I've put some sneaky traps in. And I think people get in there and they're like, oh, this guy, whoever's built this, is smart at what he's doing, and I'm not even in yet, and he's killing me, and they just give up. I've seen a lot of people give up on this base. Not even, and when I go to look at the replay, they're not even out of the corridor yet. They're not even out of the lobby. I mean, because if you were to say that you're going into a house and you're in the lobby and then you got a still mansion to look at, they're basically getting their foot in the door and they're just like, yeah, I'm done with this. Again, this one is Happy Town. I like this map. It gets some good kills, and I did a video. I've done a couple videos on this map, and then again we got a bunch of people just giving up, and this is social. This is a social person that ran this. That's what this Boolean is. This two heads or two circles and shoulders. That's telling me that this base is in social, and that person gave up in social. Now this person here was in there 5 minutes or almost 6 minutes, didn't get the prize and didn't die, so I'm not really sure what went on with that. And then a lot of people just giving up, just basically saying, no, this isn't for me, I'm giving up. And then you've got people that, like this guy, this is the arena build. He only died 4 times, one person by himself, and he was able to complete it in 10 minutes. Or in 12 minutes, sorry. And then you've got this is another arena run, the 29 deaths, and was able to complete it. And again, I built this base. You watched me build this base, folks. I built it in 60 minutes on my YouTube channel, and done, and then tweaked it a little bit after watching people run it. But you don't want to make it too crazy. Here's another result of that same base. And then you've got a bunch of people just giving up. I mean, all these people in this list. Look at this. They just gave up. They were like, yeah, I'm kind of done with the Tarkus zone. So this is the board for this morning. I'm liking what my bases are doing. I do like the high kill ratios that they have. It's just that it makes me nervous about the people giving up. So I might have to tone them down a little bit so people can enjoy themselves. Well, let's look at the base real quick that I built basically half half asleep last night, and it seems to be performing very well. I was like half asleep. I wanted to get another map up, and this is it right here. I think it started off because it was a base that was not performing, and it started off I think with a 5 kill ratio. And so I didn't prestige it for a week. I almost thought I was going to delete it. But right before I went to bed last night, I said, you know, I'm going to remove all assets. I'm going to just rebuild the thing and hope that it performs. And so it's gone up from a 5 to a 9.2 just in the amount of time that more raiders have hit it. So I'm definitely getting the kill count back up. And nobody's giving me any accolades, even though they've run it. So that also makes me nervous too, that people are not, you know, they got their butts handed to them. But let's go into that. Let's just go into the build and look at what I did here. It's an open, quick concept. Again, I built it. I can't imagine I put much time into this. This was not. I did not put much time into this. I kind of spam hit it. So what I ended, you know, with these monsters in the front, these hornets, I got a bunch of hornets in the front. They're just flying around. And when I watched a replay late last night after I built it, and I was working on something else, I came back 20 minutes later and somebody had tackled it. And I watched their replay. These guys were easy to kill. The person didn't have much problem cleaning these hornets up. It was when they got into this nonsense where I've really closed them into this room. And you can try speed running this. You can try. But we got some pistons here to slow you down, some incinerators. That trap there, the bolt trap there was seeking, and another slow down there with the pistons. And then you come into, this is actually getting you into the bread and butter of what this base is. So this is just the entry room, the foyer. And this, I didn't really expect many kills here, but I have gotten some good kills there. The base really starts right here. This is where it starts, and it's only one room. It's just one room. And you come into this room, and the Genmat is here, not that far away. So this map is quite small. But it seemed to work out very well. I've got hornets that come out of the ceiling there. There's a perch up there that they come out of, and then they come down here. And then what I've got here, which is surprising the folks and what's been getting folks, is these mobs here, the warmongers behind the hollow cube, and I have them on both sides. And they come out, and they are very surprising. Now what I've done here is these bolts are on second wave. These bolts are on second wave, and the bolts on the back here are on second wave with seeking. And so basically when they pull this thing, there's a good chance that these traps, when they go to come out of here, will fire their second wave with seeking, and hopefully that I get them. But it's basically just one room with, you know, some cool trap placements. Got monsters perched up like tower defense, like a tower defense game is how I did it. Got some monsters perched up on these blocks all the way down and those are the enforcers. So they're, this person's only got line of sight to here, but it matters if the person's running in this direction. These guys can see them. I mean, they're not going to see all the way to the front of the room, but they're going to be in places like I got one up there. Now, I don't think I put any cannoneers in this map. They're just enforcers and hornets, and then the warmongers that come rushing out. It was very effective. When I watched the video on this, it was quite effective. And let's just log out here for a second so that we can just recap its effectiveness on the board. Come on, computer. Chug away and get me there. All right. So let's go onto the board again. And that base is this base right here. That's when I viewed it. That's how I viewed it, to see how well it was doing, and I haven't changed it. This is what I watched after making it, and like, yeah, and that was at 3 a.m. Like shortly after I made it. I was like, yeah, it seems like it's doing what it's doing, so we'll just leave it alone. This person gave up on it after 2 deaths. So those are the only results I have for that base currently. I don't think anybody else, because I had just opened it up right before going to bed. Oh, did the game freeze? Okay, sometimes it freezes on this board, which is kind of weird sometimes that it does do that freezing. I do want to tell you folks that these other advisors, you want to look at them, and this is just telling you, if you're a newer player, that you want to look at them and not only look at what you can buy from them, but look at the boosts that they give you. And this one here is parts drop increase, and this one here is increase Genmat earned in rating. So you know when you're rating, so if you're a raider, this is going to be a good boost to have. And then you've got your guard boost, which is increases your prestige. Now, if you've got a base that is getting players, but it's just not meeting that prestige mark, popping that works well. But I found that I was able to refresh. I had one base, and it was the traps here. And we know what this one is. I did a video on this boost. This is getting the Syntite, I guess I'm going to say it, drop rating increase. And then this guy's boost is the Watchman, seeing and displaying traps. So I was going back to what I was saying is I had a map that was a weapons map. It was a trap. Which one is it? It's got to be, I probably have to read in, it's this one right here. So this one here never gets enough players to advance it to the next prestige level. But what's nice is it lets me refill it anyway. So basically, if you don't get enough prestige to get it to level 2, it'll still let you refill it, and you stay at its current level. But it was almost like, oh, that's cool, because it's almost like you can keep it up forever if you get nobody running it, because it will never reach prestige 10 because you're never getting enough prestige to level it, but it lets you refill it anyway. So this map, it let me refill it even though I didn't have enough prestige, and it left it at prestige level 1. So when it didn't have enough, it was like, you don't have enough prestige to prestige it, but would you like to refill it? It's like, yeah, I'll refill it. And then it was like, oh, you didn't get enough prestige to would you like to refill? I was like, yeah, I'll refill it. So it was like, oh my goodness, it's like it never gets raiders, or didn't get any amount of raiders, but it's still allowing me to refill it because that's part of its mechanics. So you can refill it endlessly at that point if it never gets enough prestige, and then that means you're getting its Genmat out of it constantly without it ever depleting. And I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe that's the best way to go, because if you're just looking to grind that advisor Genmat, then that's the way to go. So when I get some extra moolah in my pocket, I got some actually, I'll reactivate this, as we'll probably go again with no raiders. It will come back to say you don't have enough prestige points to level it, so would you like to refill it? And I'll be like, yeah, let's just refill that gem. All right, well, that's it for this morning, guys. I just wanted to go over the board and over some of the stats of my bases. Well, thank you for joining me. This has been the Tarkus Zone.